Welcome students to the new session of class 5. I wish all of you are in good health and staying back at home. Today I am going to start with your science chapter 1, growing plants. In this chapter we will study about importance of plants, different parts of a seed, how do seeds germinate, different ways of vegetative propagation, how are seeds dispersed, and different practices of agriculture. Now first we will start with the importance of plants. You know, plants form a major part of our environment and we all depend on plants to survive. You all are aware that plants help us in many ways. They give us food to eat, they give us medicines, they provide oxygen to breathe, and fibers for cloth. That's why they are called our green friends. Why they are called green friends? Because they are green in color and they help us like a friend. Now growing new plants from seeds. You know, many plants bear flowers and these flowers develop into fruits. And you all know that fruits have seeds inside them. Now, new plants grow from these seeds, and seeds are of different colors, sizes, and shapes. Now, the question is, why do plants produce so many seeds? Plants produce so many seeds because all the seeds do not grow into new plants. The reason behind it is some are eaten by insects and birds, some are destroyed by wind and rain, and some do not get the favorable conditions to grow into new plants. Now, what are those favorable conditions? These conditions are air, water, and warmth. So, the seeds that survive and find these favorable conditions means air, water, and warmth, they only grow into new plants. Now, let us study about the structure of a seed. For this, we will take a bean seed. Now in figure A, the outer covering of the seed is very thick and it is called the seed coat. Seed coat protects the seed. Now observe the side of the seed closely. You will see there is a scar and this is the place where seed is attached to the fruit. Now on the top of the scar there is a tiny hole. Air enter the seed through this hole and allow the seed to breathe. Now come to the next figure. Inside the seed coat, fleshy seed leaves, which are also called cotyledons, are found. The cotyledons store food for the baby plant. And this baby plant is also called embryo. Now the baby plant uses this food which it getting from the cotyledons till it grow its own roots. These roots is also called radicle, and shoot, which is also called plumule. Once the baby plant grow its own root, which is called radicle, and its own shoot, which is called plumule. The cotyledon shrink off and fall off. And the young plant now start making its own food through photosynthesis. Now in your class 4, you have already studied about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? When plant prepare its food with the help of carbon dioxide or water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. That process is called photosynthesis. Now you know seeds are of two types, and these two types are monocot seeds and dicot seeds. Monocot seeds, as the name suggests, has only one cotyledon, and dicot seeds have two cotyledons. The example of monocot seeds are wheat, rice, and maize. And dicot seeds are gram, pea, and bean. Now, do you know how does a seed grow into a new plant? So, as I told you that when a seed finds favorable conditions, and what are those favorable conditions? Air, water, and warmth. So when a seed finds air, water, and warmth, they grow into a new plant. And this whole process of growing new plant from a seed is called germination. So what is germination? Germination is the process by which a seed starts growing into a new plant. It is called germination. Now you know, in the beginning of the germination, the new plant gets its food from the cotyledons. I told you this in the earlier slide, that cotyledon provide the food to the new plant. Now, pores in the soil allow air to reach the seed. Through the pores which are present in the soil, the air reaches to the seed, and the roots, which we also call radicle, comes out first and grow downwards into the soil. Roots always grow downwards into the soil. Later, the shoot, which is also called plumule, comes out and grows upward towards sunlight, because shoot means stem part that always grows upward towards the sunlight. And as I told you, after using up the food stored in the cotyledon, cotyledons shrink and fall off, and young plant gets water and nutrients from the soil. And the leaves, they start preparing their food for the new plant with the help of photosynthesis. Now, growing new plants from other parts of the plant. Now you know, new plant can also be grown from the vegetative parts of a plant. Now the question is, what are these vegetative parts? So, these vegetative parts are roots, stems, leaves, and spores. So roots, stems, leaves, and spores are the vegetative parts of a plant through which we can get a new plant also. And the method of growing new plant with these parts, not with seed, with these parts, is called vegetative propagation. Now there are various ways of this vegetative propagation. Means there are various ways to grow a new plant from the plant parts. Now, one by one, we will study about these ways. Now, first, we will study about growing new plant from roots. So, some plants like sweet potato, carrot, radish, and turnip, they can grow new plants from roots. In this, if you cut the top portion and plant it in the ground, a new plant will grow from that root. Now, next come growing new plant from underground stems. Potato, onion, ginger, these are underground stems. And we can grow new plant through these stems. These stems have buds, which we also call eyes on them. And a piece of their stem having an eye can grow into a new plant. Now next is new plant from the cutting of stems. In some plants like money plant, rose, hibiscus, and sugarcane, they can also grow from stem cuttings. If we cut a stem from any of these plants and if you put it in the soil, it will start growing into a new plant. So we can grow a new plant from cutting stems also. Now come to growing new plant from leaves. Some plants produce new plants from the margins of its leaves, like bryophyllum. The tiny plantlets means small birds or the small plants which grow on the margin or the edges of their leaves, of the bryophyllum leaves. They fall off on the ground and grow into independent plants. Now, next way is growing new plants from spores. Some plants, such as ferns and mosses, they do not bear flowers. Even they do not produce seeds. They have tiny spores which are present on the lower side of their leaves. These spores are stored in a special structure which we call sorai. In the sorai, the spores are present. Now, when the spores fall down, they can grow into a new plant. Now, students, I hope all of you are able to understand whatever we have studied in this session. Now we will continue rest of the topic in the next part of the session. Thank you.